Hey, Pretty Girl Club. Welcome back to the Beluga series. And in this episode, I'm going to talk about how you're fat because you eat too much restaurant food. So, I hear a lot of people on the internet talking about things like, oh, well, it's okay to eat a snack, Exoticals United. It's okay to intuitively eat. No, snacking and intuitive eating, that's for people who are at a healthy weight. If you are overweight, it's because you don't know how to snack properly. You don't know how to portion control. So why would I tell somebody who already is bad at portion control, their stomach's already hanging out of their jeans, their booty's already hanging out, they got hella cellulite stretch marks and shit. Why would I tell that person, oh, well, no, you can still have snacks. Oh, well, just follow your intuition. No, clearly your intuition is already fucked up because why would your intuition lead you to eat a whole bunch of restaurant food? And a lot of people are like, oh, well, I still want to be able to enjoy my life. I still want to be able to go out to restaurants. I go out to restaurants all the time, but I don't eat the entire meal when I'm at the restaurant. I don't order a burger and fries and sit there and eat the entire thing. Like, no, when I go out, I'm going to be looking cute. I'm wearing a halter top. I'm wearing a bra top. I'm wearing a bodycon dress. So why would I go to a nice, classy restaurant and then eat like a whale? And then when it's time to take the picture, suddenly I'm like, oh my God, you have to get me from the left side and you have to get me from this angle and I got to suck in my stomach. I have to stand behind somebody else so that I look smaller and they look bigger. You're telling me you're going through all that shit just so you can eat a greasy piece of cow meat, aka a hamburger. And it's like, if you eat cows 24/7, you're going to look like a cow. If you eat pigs 24/7, aka pork, you're going to look like a pig. How are you going to eat something like that and then be shocked and surprised when your stomach starts to look like a cow? No, this channel is for people who are tired of being lied to. And I've also heard some people say that like they got so big to where other people started telling them like, oh my God, you're obese, or like, oh my God, you gained so much weight. I'm not going to let myself get to that level. Nobody's going to be able to say shit about this body. And I'm glad that we, as the Pretty Girl Club, I'm so glad that we have a safe space where it's okay to want to look better. Yes, I said the word better. Oh, well, it doesn't mean you look better. Just because you're skinny doesn't mean you look better. Okay, well, in my opinion, I feel like I look better when my body is at a healthy weight versus when I'm obese. I would not feel confident in my body if I knew that I was filling it with trash all the time. So all the people who say, oh, well, I'm body positive because I accept my body at an obese weight. Okay, there's a difference between self-acceptance versus self-confidence. I don't want to just accept where I'm at. The fuck? That's called complacency. Hell no. I'm not just going to accept where I'm at. Oh my God, well, I accept myself. No, I want to level myself up. And I associate leveling up with having a body that looks healthy. So when I go out and when I get a burger, which is very rare, but if I do get a burger, I do prefer beef. I'm going to at least take off the buns of the burger, okay? Because right there, I'm already saving a couple hundred calories. I can take off one bun because sometimes I'm still craving like a little bit of the bread. So I'll just take off one bun and I will eat my burger with just like the top bun on it. Or I can ask them to wrap it in lettuce. And then for the people who are like, oh, well, I'm embarrassed. You know, that's not how they make their burgers. They're known for their buns. You didn't go to the restaurant so you can eat the burger buns. Stop lying to yourself. You came to the restaurant because the main part of the burger that you actually want is the meat part. So as long as you're getting the main part, you know, the good part, that's the meat, you're fine. You don't have to eat the buns just because that's how they make it. Like, I'm not a follower. When I go into a restaurant, bitch, I'm the customer. So if I want to request that they put my burger in lettuce instead of putting it in buns, that's not going to be a problem. The waiter is not going to say, oh, excuse me, no, you can't do that. Oh, excuse me, we have to put buns on it and you have to eat the buns. No, nobody really cares as much as you think they do. And a lot of women who have kind of this beluga mindset, a lot of them are overeating in order to prove to others that they're normal. So they're eating a whole bunch of shit because everybody else is eating like that at the table. And it's like, no, I'm not everybody else. So I don't have to eat 5,000 calories in one sitting because that's what all my friends are doing. And I just want to fit in. Do you see how people pleasing ends up sabotaging you? Another thing I do too, if I go out and order a burger, is I will ask for a fork. Yes, I will get a fork out because that helps to remind me to portion control. Like it's easier to just get a forkful or to get a fork and knife versus just taking bites because sometimes you don't really know how big or small your bites are. That's kind of harder to manage. So yes, I'm bougie. I eat my burgers with a fork and knife. Yes, I am stuck up by eating my pizza with a fork as well. And also, to be honest, I love the social status that comes with being thin. I also love the feminine privilege that is associated with having a nice body proportion or whatever. So, yes, I enjoy sitting there with my dainty little fork and my dainty little knife and cutting up my burger. And sometimes I will actually ask the person at the restaurant, I'll ask them if they can cut it in half. You know how sometimes they'll cut your sandwich or cut your burger in half and then they put a toothpick in it? Sometimes I'll ask them to do that and then I'll have them like box up the other half. But no, I'm not going to go there in my cute outfit and have a big greasy ass burger with oil dripping everywhere. You know, it's just dripping all over my dress, dripping all over my makeup. I'm getting the burger grease on my skin now. Now I've got grease spots all over my face, grease spots on my finger. No. That sort of image does not align with how I want to see myself. Like, I don't want to be seen eating like a whale. I don't want to even practice eating like that because I'm the type of person that likes to be in more classy spaces. And I mean, I've never seen anybody in a classy space just stuffing their face and going on a binge because that's basically what a lot of people are doing. You know damn well that you were not that hungry to the point where you had to eat an entire quarter pounder burger and a big ass thing of fries. You're not that hungry. Your stomach is not even that big. So a lot of people, they forget the size of their stomach. The size of your stomach is what? The size of maybe two of your fists? 2 fistfuls? That's it. So why would I go there and try to stretch out my stomach and then fill my body with grease and oil and then get ticked off later when I'm constipated or, you know, when my stomach looks bloated and now I can't even take pictures at the event? You know those girls where they go on a dating app or something and then they have to Photoshop their images to make themselves 10 pounds skinnier? You're going through all that drama all because you wanted to eat burgers. So you're literally allowing food to control your life. Like, just admit that you're a food addict. Just admit that food controls your life and be done. Like, I would have more respect for those types of people. If they just admit, hey, look, I'm addicted to sugar. Sugar controls my life. You know, I'm a slave to sugar. I'm a slave to grease. That's it. Then I would have more respect for them. But it's the people who are fake ass bitches on the internet and then they try to pretend like, oh, I'm so healthy. But then when you actually see them, that's not healthy. They're literally just binging. But another skinny girl tip that I think a lot of Exoticals should do is you can ask for no sauces on the burgers. Like, that's something that I do sometimes because condiments like ketchup, mustard, barbecue sauce, ranch, garlic aioli, all of that stuff adds an additional 200 to 400 calories, and you can barely even taste it sometimes, especially if they have the big giant buns. I can't stand those big buns where it's like the bun overtakes the burger. So if I can barely taste something, I might as well just take it off because I don't want invisible calories. Like, I have higher standards for myself when it comes to taste. And have you ever heard people talk about how skinny people eat nasty food and like, you know, our stuff is unseasoned? And it's like, no, you actually are the one with bad taste because you're such a beluga to the point where you think everything tastes good. You'll eat anything. You don't have any standards for your taste buds. You eat McDonald's, you eat Jack in the Box, you're eating fried chicken wings and burgers and stuff that's filled with grease. So don't sit over here and try to tell me that I'm not selective with my taste buds. No, you're for the streets when it comes to food. You're literally for the streets. Any restaurant on the street, you're going to eat that for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And you don't even know what's in it. And it's most likely going to be processed. And did you know that your body can tell what is a good whole food that's healthy and then what's processed? So a lot of times your body doesn't even recognize that stuff as food. And so this is why sometimes people, they eat fast food and then they literally get sick. Like in my case, I have been sick from In-N-Out Burger several times. And that's because my body's not registering it as real food. My body is like, what is this? Like, why did you just eat 5 pounds of Crisco? Like, what is this in my stomach? But another thing that I like to do too is if I'm out at a restaurant with other people, I can offer them a bite or two of my burger. So this kind of depends on like what types of friends you're around. But if you're around men or something, let's say you're on a date, let's say you're with your brothers or something, if you really don't want to eat the entire burger, you can offer for them to taste just one piece of your burger. I'm not saying you have to be a food pusher. You don't have to push your food onto others, although if you want to be diabolical, you can. Because I've had people do that to me before. Have you ever been the skinny girl at work and then whenever they bring donuts or something, they're like, oh, give it to Exoticals United. They try to give you all the bad foods. They try to give you like the poisonous foods, basically. They give you the toxic foods because you're skinny. So, you can handle it. Okay, that's a form of sabotage. They're literally being a food pusher. And another thing you want to watch out for too, Pretty Girl Club, is watch out for those people who try to fearmonger you into eating more calories. They'll be like, oh, well, you need protein. Oh, well, you probably have low vitamin B levels. You probably have low iron levels. Oh, well, you're going to pass out. You already ran 3 miles today, so why don't you just eat the entire slice of pizza? They're trying to fearmonger you and scare you into eating more calories because they feel bad about their life. They feel bad about their body, so they're trying to project their own internalized standards onto you. Like, oh, well, that's too skinny. You don't have a booty anymore. Oh, well, you don't even look good. Your shape doesn't look good. And it's like, I don't have to look good for other people. I can choose to look good according to my standards. But number 5 is to choose a burger that has leaner protein. So you can do a turkey burger, a veggie burger, a smaller beef patty. So getting a single instead of a double. You know how they have like the double stack burgers or like the triple stack and the quarter pounders? No, I'm getting a singular beef patty and that's it. And if you really want to be disciplined, you can order a children's size burger at a restaurant. Just get the kids meal because it's going to be a smaller portion. And then you get to look dainty and cute at the table with your little small burger. And then, you can take your fork out, take out your fork and knife and sit there with good posture and then just like slowly eat the burger. Side note, have you ever noticed that a lot of women who are belugas, they're constantly rushing through their food? It's almost like they're not even tasting it. They're just inhaling the food. They're stuffing their mouth with the next bite before they even finish the first bite. So something I try to do is I try to bite my food at least 20 times. You want to chew it up really well, and then you slowly swallow it, and then wait 5 seconds before you take the next bite. And if you're really disciplined, you can actually count how many bites it takes for you to feel satisfied. So I noticed for me personally, about 3 bites satisfies a craving. So just taking 3 bites of cake, 3 bites of ice cream, that's going to satisfy my craving. About 10 bites will normally satisfy my hunger. So if I have hunger pangs or something, if my stomach is growling, all it takes for me is about 10 bites of salad or 10 bites of whatever the meal is, and then the rumbling goes away. So people who have a beluga mindset, they're not aware of their own body. They can't tell you how many bites of food will satisfy a craving. So all they know how to do is just order the biggest plate possible. Like, oh, I'm hungry, my stomach's growling, so let me get a quarter pounder. Another thing I like to do though, if I'm out at a restaurant, is I will tell myself, okay, I'm going to order the children's meal or I'm going to order a smaller portion. And if I'm still hungry, I will order again. So I just give myself the chance. I don't go in and like restrict myself like, oh, I can't get a burger. I can't get this. No, if I really want a burger, I'm going to get maybe a small one. And then if I truly feel afterwards, if I wait 15 or 20 minutes after I finish the kids' meal, if I'm super hungry still, then I can order a second plate, which I've never had to do, by the way, because a lot of people who are belugas, they overestimate their hunger. They think that stomach growling is the end of the world. They think that hunger is an emergency. They think that they're not going to have any more access to food. They don't know where their next meal is coming from. So they're eating like it's the Last Supper. They're feasting. Every single meal is a feast for somebody who has a beluga mindset. And it's like, no, sis, this is lunchtime right now. You only need to have energy for what? The next few hours or until dinner time? You don't have to eat as if you're not going to have any more food for the next month. Like, it's okay. You're still going to be alive. Trust me, you've got hundreds of thousands of extra calories stored up in your body right now, aka extra pounds. So trust me, your body, you need to let your body start eating its own fat. So you're gonna survive. You don't have to worry about getting a big ass meal. And something else I like to do too, though, is when I'm ordering a burger, for example, I'm gonna add as many vegetables as possible to that burger because that's gonna give me fiber. That's gonna make me more full while I'm eating less calories. And I guarantee that I will not be able to finish that entire burger. If I added lettuce, tomato, onion, jalapeno, a whole bunch of other vegetables on top of the meat within the burger, I'm not going to be able to eat that whole thing because fiber is filling me up and it's also kind of helping balance me out too. And at least I'm getting some sort of nutrients in there, because I'm getting vegetables. A lot of belugas, they don't eat vegetables or fruits. Especially vegetables though. A lot of them never eat vegetables. A lot of them do not eat vegetables with every meal. And that's a part of why they stay hungry. It's because their body is not getting nutrients. Whenever your body is feeling weak or tired or it's giving you all these hunger signals and stuff, a lot of times your body is trying to tell you that you need nutrients, like something healthy, vitamin E or like some iron. You need some vitamin C. You need some healthy fat. But people who have this beluga mindset, they're not eating with the intention of caring for their body. They're just eating for their taste buds. So their whole entire life is controlled by some circles on their tongue called taste buds. Their life is controlled by salt and sugar. Imagine your entire life being controlled by white powder. What's the difference between you and a drug addict? I'm serious. Both of you guys are controlled. Your whole life is controlled by white powder. So what's the difference between you and a crackhead? What's the difference between you and a heroin addict? Both of you guys are living your life based on getting the next hit. You're addicted to sugar, you're addicted to salt, you're addicted to flour. Okay, so you're addicted to white powder. And another thing too that I hear some belugas say is like, oh, well, if I eat a double stacked cheeseburger, I'm getting protein. Okay, but just because something has protein in it, it doesn't always mean that it's the healthiest choice. So yeah, I get protein from a burger, but I'm also getting hella carbs, hella fat. I might be getting a ton of sugar. So it's like, don't try to sit here and pretend all of a sudden like you care about protein. If you truly cared about protein that much, you would be having a leaner source of protein. You would know that there are levels to this shit. You would know that not all protein sources are equal. Since you're so obsessed with protein all of a sudden, you should know which one to choose. So that's part of why, like, if I am getting a burger, I try to pick a leaner protein if possible. But I will say, though, my favorite meat is beef. So I know that's like the unhealthy one. And I know that in most restaurants, they're not serving you like this high quality grass-fed beef. No, they're usually serving like just these processed frozen patties. And by the way, a lot of restaurants, like most restaurants in general, they get their foods frozen. So that's what you're eating. If you're eating out at a lot of restaurants, especially if it's not a super nice restaurant, you're just eating like frozen patties or like frozen fries or whatever that they just warmed up. They just warmed it up in the deep fryer. They just warmed it up on the stove back there. So that's the quality of food that you're normally getting, just so you know. And for the people who are saying like, oh, well, everything's not about looks. You guys, the Exoticals are so shallow. They're so obsessed with their looks. Okay, who said it's about looks? I'm talking about actual nutrients for my body. Like, yes, it makes me look good to eat healthy food, but I think more clearly. I have more energy. My workouts are better. I have more creative ideas because I don't have constant brain fog from eating all this trash. Looking good is just a side effect. And also, you guys know my view when it comes to looks. I feel like looks, your appearance, that's going to be one of the most important things in your life as a woman. It's going to be one of the most important, not the most important, but it is going to determine how people treat you in a lot of cases. Like if you look disgusting and like you have bad hygiene or something, people aren't going to treat you well. And I know that's shallow, but society is shallow. So people bringing all the smoke to the Exoticals, calling us shallow, are you keeping that same energy with Hollywood? The celebrities that you obsess over, the celebrities that you pay hundreds of dollars to see in concert, are you calling them shallow? Are you calling Hollywood shallow? Or do you only have that smoke for women in the exotical space? But another thing I do if I'm getting a burger, for example, is I will get veggies or a salad on the side to kind of cut the calories of the overall meal. Because fries, you all know that like if you have a burger and you have fries, that's going to give you a food coma. It's going to give you the typical carb crash where your blood sugar spikes into oblivion and then it crashes. Sugar is a carb, by the way. And carbs are not bad in and of themselves. It's not the carbs that's the problem. It's really the amount of carbs that the average American eats in a day. The average American is getting way more carbs than they need. They're getting way more sugar than what they need, way more sodium than what they need. So if I'm having a burger with the buns on, that's enough carbs. I got 2 big ass pieces of bread, and then some restaurants, they even give you bread while you're waiting for your food. So it's like, trust me, I had plenty of carbs. I don't need the additional French fries on the side, and then you add some grease on it as well. No, I don't need all of that. So I try to be selective when it comes to what's going in my body because I care about my body. I love my body. I think my body looks beautiful and I enjoy living life in this body. Oh, well, you have a superiority complex. Well, damn right. Because I do think my body looks better when it's at a healthy weight versus when it's sloppy looking and overweight and unhealthy. So if that means I have a superiority complex, so be it. Who gonna check me? But something else I like to do though, another skinny girl hack is I will drink water or tea with no sugar as my drink. So 0-calorie drinks. I'm not gonna order a soda on the side. I'm not going to order a milkshake on the side. One of the main things that made me chunky, one of the top meals that made me gain weight was the burger, the fry, and the milkshake combo, like as a meal. That was one of the number one reasons why I used to struggle to like lose weight. It's because I literally was choosing the most high sugar, high calorie options. By the way, the average milkshake, especially if you get maybe like a medium 16-ounce milkshake, with some whipped cream and stuff on it, that's 1,400 calories, 1,500 calories. That's somebody's daily amount of calories. You do know that, right? 1 pound is what, about 3,500 calories? Okay, so you could make the argument that one milkshake is around, what, a third of a pound? So if I'm eating a quarter pounder burger, so that's a quarter pound just in the meat, and then I'm having a milkshake, which is 16 ounces of liquid, is just carbs and sugar and dairy, which promotes inflammation. And then it's 1,600 calories. That's already, what, almost a pound right there? A half a pound? And that's just in part of my meal. And then that's not including the fries. Carbs also, it helps your body to like hold water. So you can pretty much guarantee that you're going to gain a pound or two. And I'm not saying it's going to be fat, but it's like I don't want to stack my body up with hella water weight and have a swollen ass face, swollen stomach. Arms are jiggling. I don't want all that. Just for a meal? No. I will eat a protein bar before I even go out. I will get like, a good 20 grams of protein so that I'm not extremely hungry. Because some of you guys, some women who have this beluga mindset, when they become hungry, they become irrational. So that's why they have that phrase being hangry. Yeah, so that means you're acting in a way that's irrational. You're making these impulsive, emotional decisions. By the way, most people who are eating, just in general, most of the time that you eat, you're emotionally eating. Just admit it. You're emotionally eating. So you came into the restaurant, you're hangry, you're in a crappy mood, your blood sugar has dropped. That's really what that is. Your blood sugar is hella low. So then you want to try to spike it up back into oblivion. You want to try to get some white powder. You got to get your hit with your white powder. Flour, sugar, salt. You got to get your hit so that you can have that high again. And it's all because you could have just ate a protein bar, but you chose not to. But another skinny girl tip, though, is as far as saving calories when I eat pizza, because that's another one of my like typical junk foods that I eat. So I will actually get a napkin and dab the extra grease off of the pizza. Like as soon as they bring the pizza to the table. As soon as I get my slice out, I'm going to take my napkin. I'm going to be dabbing it. So yes, I've had people look at me crazy when I dab the grease off. Or they'll be like, oh my God, that's such a good idea. That's so healthy. And when it comes to pizza, you can also order like the thin crust. You can get the cauliflower crust. If you're a gangster like me, you can refuse to have any crust at all and just eat the top part of the pizza. So that's what I do. I will eat the top part of the pizza with a fork, but that's optional. You don't have to do that. If you like the crust, then eat the crust. But you can also skip the Parmesan, and that's going to help you save calories. You're also getting less dairy, so less inflammation. A lot of people are lactose intolerant and they don't know it. A lot of people have like allergies and they don't know it. They're wondering why they have all these acne breakouts and stuff. They're wondering why their body is mucusy, like they have a lot of mucus after they eat dairy, and they're not realizing it's coming from their diet. So you can just skip the Parmesan because that also adds calories and it adds dairy. You can choose lighter toppings like vegetables. You can get the veggie pizza instead of all these high fat meats. Like, you know how they have the meat lovers pizza where it has the little balls of sausage on it, like the pork on it, the Canadian bacon. First of all, that's an abomination. Canadian bacon, it's like pineapples and like ham. Oh my God, ew. But you can choose a healthier topping. Also, you can ask for light cheese. So you can ask them, hey, can you put a little bit less cheese on mine? Because then it's naturally lowering the calories. Skinny girls are strategic with the way that we eat. I've never met a girl who's quote unquote naturally skinny. I've never met a girl like that who has no food strategy at all. No. The average girl that I know that's skinny, she will tell me like, oh, I eat 100 grams of protein per day. Or I only eat when I'm hungry. Or I only snack, like I don't have any snacks at all. That's one of the biggest differences actually between a lot of skinny girls I know versus big girls. I noticed whenever I watch these videos online of the girls that are like, oh, I'm a fatty, this is what I eat in a day. They're showing themselves constantly snacking. I don't know of a lot of skinny women who have a whole bunch of snacks. And if they do have a snack, it'll be something strategic with protein, such as like a Greek yogurt. That's what, 120 calories, around what, 10 to 12 grams of protein. So this whole concept of snacking, anybody who's defensive over snacking, that's somebody who has a problem with snacking. So it's like, no, you're the last person that needs to be snacking if you're getting defensive over it. You're literally fighting so you can have more of your white powder that you're so addicted to. More sugar, more white flour products, more sodium, addicted to chips. But another thing I do though, when it comes to eating restaurant food, I don't always take everything home. So it kind of depends on the restaurant. It depends on how good the food was. But if the food at the restaurant was mid, I'm not taking that shit home and eating that for the next 3 days. Absolutely not. I'm not going to bring some mediocre ass food back home just so I can finish it. Who told you that you have to finish every single plate? Who told you that if you go to a restaurant, you have to take home leftovers? No, that's just a made up rule in society, and it doesn't make sense. It literally doesn't make sense. Number 7, skinny girl strategy is grilled over fried. So you can get grilled, baked, or steamed items on the menu as opposed to fried chicken or something that has breading on it. No, just get something grilled. That's going to cut a little bit of the calories. You're having less of that white powder, aka the flour. That's the breading on the chicken. That's the breading on the fried pickles and the breading on the onion rings. Yeah, that comes from like white flour. It comes from like cornmeal and stuff like that. So it's starchy. Skinny girl tip number 8 is getting the dressings and the sauce on the side. So I talked about this before, like even if I'm ordering a salad, because a lot of salads are like 900 calories at these restaurants, I will ask them to put the dressing on the side, put all the nuts and seeds and croutons and whatever they have going as a topping, put all that on the side, and then I get to control how much of that I want on the salad. Because if I'm going out to eat, first of all, if I'm eating out, usually I'm doing it because I'm socializing with a friend. So the whole point of me going to the restaurant is so I can spend time with that person. So there's no need to revolve the entire thing around food. Like I'm going there so I can connect with people. I'm going to the networking luncheon so I can like make new contacts and have conversations. So if I'm stuffing my face with food the entire time, I'm not having as many conversations. And a lot of women who have this beluga mindset, their lifestyle actually suffers because they're going to these social events. They're just eating food the whole time. They're not talking to anybody. And then they get so big that they're embarrassed to go out. They're embarrassed to be seen because they feel like they don't fit in these luxury spaces. Because let's be honest, A lot of times when you go to rich neighborhoods, when you go to luxury settings, do the people, are they obese? If you were to compare the body types of the average person in Beverly Hills versus the average person in the ghetto somewhere, where are you more likely to see overweight people? You're more likely to see them in the poor areas. And so because this is a sociology channel, we acknowledge the reality that a lot of people associate being big, they associate it with poverty. People have a subconscious bias. They assume that you're more poor. People will assume that you're more sloppy. Sometimes people will actually think that you look older when you're bigger. Have you ever lost weight and then people start assuming you're way younger? Yeah, that's because every body type, every identity has different stereotypes associated with it. So this channel teaches you how to finesse those stereotypes. You want to be associated with as many positive stereotypes as possible, as opposed to negative stereotypes. And that's a part of privilege stacking. So yes, I'd rather be associated with the stereotypes that come with being fit, looking like a model, looking pretty, having nice toned muscles and stuff. I enjoy the positive stereotypes that come from looking like that. I like how other people perceive me when I look like that. But another thing that a lot of people forget about restaurants, though, is that they will serve really big portion sizes. They serve like maybe 1.5 or 2 portion sizes on the plate. And a lot of times, if you go to restaurants, their actual bowls and plates are bigger than what you have in your apartment. And that's because they want you to feel like you're getting your money's worth. They want you to feel like, oh, this is a nice plate. They're generous. They want more customers. So that's why they're serving these big ass portion sizes. It's to get you addicted to their food so you keep coming back. So I like to share with my friends, me and one of my friends, me and her have agreed already that whenever we go out to a restaurant, we are going to share a meal. So both of us are like, we care about our bodies. So we've already made a deal with each other. Like, okay, we're going out to the pizza place. Do you want to share a personal size pizza? Like I get half of it, you get half of it. Maybe we get some veggies on the side. You want to have friends that support your level up. And if you don't, then it's time to find some new friends. And it's time to distance yourself from those family members. Everybody can't go where you're going. And by the way, whenever they serve bread at restaurants, or tortilla chips, I'm not eating that because that's not what I came for. I did not come to the Cheesecake Factory so I could just eat a whole bunch of bread. That's not why I came there. I came there so I could eat the lettuce wraps or, whatever food I'm actually going to order. By the way, that is one of my favorite dishes at the Cheesecake Factory is the lettuce wraps. I don't know if they still have that, but that's a pretty cute, that's one of the main lunch spots I used to go to in my hometown. But you also want to look at the menu ahead of time because ever since I got super in shape, I look at that shit before I go there. I don't just walk into a restaurant unprepared. That's exactly why people's bodies look sloppy. They were unprepared. They didn't prepare their meals ahead. They didn't prepare a workout plan for themselves. They didn't prepare themselves to be disciplined when they bring donuts into the office. And so that's why their body looks sloppy. It's because their time management is sloppy and their discipline is sloppy. So before I even go to the restaurant, I'm going to look at the menu and decide like, okay, am I going to get a milkshake? Am I going to get a burger? And if I do get stuff like that, I will eat clean before and after I go to the restaurant. So maybe I eat vegetables and I have some lean protein that entire week because I know I'm going to get my little milkshake on Friday. So I'm kind of balancing it out as opposed to just showing up like an idiot and then I just order the first thing I see. No, that's not smart. Because then you're always playing catch up. And then another thing I've noticed too with people who have this elephant mindset is that they rely on going to the gym. They rely on workouts to keep them skinny. That's not how life works. If all it took was the gym, then everybody would be skinny. Everybody in the world would be skinny because human beings move every single day. Your body is creating movement every day. So no, it's not the gym that makes you skinny. It's your diet. And that's really the hard part for people that have this, they're addicted to the white powders. It's hard for those people because their entire diet is based on white powder. Restaurant foods are very high in sodium. Another thing I randomly thought about was how discipline is a form of self-love. Okay, that's the highest form of self-love. So when I'm walking around with my body looking amazing, I'm showing the world that this is how I view myself. This is how I look at myself. I view myself as somebody that deserves a nice body. I deserve pretty privilege. Why not? I deserve thin privilege. And yes, being thin is definitely a privilege. You can fit in an airplane seat. You don't have people getting upset when you sit next to them on the bus or something. The fashion and beauty industry is catered more towards those who have a healthy weight. So yes, being thin is a privilege. If I have the option to choose between having thin privilege versus not having it, I would choose thin privilege every single time. And I'm not ashamed to say it. Because the same people who shame you for your privileges, they are seeking privileges behind closed doors. They're just trying to pretend, they're trying to be the morality police. And they think that if you're skinny and pretty, then you must be shallow. And it's like, no, that's your problem. You think that skinny and pretty people are shallow. Because that's how you would be if you actually were skinny and pretty. You would be shallow. So projection much? By the way, for those of you who don't want to count calories or you don't want to count macros, I've told you guys I actually do not count calories or macros. I kind of estimate and I go based off how my body feels. But generally speaking, if I cannot remember everything I ate that day, I ate too much. I ate too much food. That's why I can't remember it, because there are literally so many items that I cannot recall how much food I ate. That's a problem. If I ate 25 items and then at the end of the day, I'm like, oh my God, like, what did I eat again? I ate too much. So I try to keep like notes. I will keep notes on my phone, or I will just take a picture. You know how people take pictures before they eat their food and stuff and they post it on Instagram? I will sometimes just take a quick picture just so I have it in my phone. It's crazy. You know what? Maybe I'll show some of the meals that I used to eat. Maybe I'll try to insert some pictures of the types of food that I used to eat when I was a beluga. And I will show you guys, like, if I would have just been tracking how much I ate, if I would have just gone back and looked at all those pictures, it's very easy to see why I was chunky. It's because I was eating the whole thing. I was never taking food home, or I was like gorging myself when I was at the restaurant. Back when I was a little bit chunkier, I remember I was always in catch-up mode when it came to weight loss. I would always be in panic mode because it's like, oh my God, I have a date. I don't know what to wear. Oh my gosh, I have this photo shoot. I don't know what to wear. Oh, this makes my butt look too big. This makes my hips look too big. There were so many micro insecurities that I had when I was a little bit thicker, to the point where I'm living a whole new lifestyle now. I'm so much more carefree because when it's summertime, I can wear shorts. I don't have to worry about that sweat mark that you get in between your legs from your thighs rubbing together. You know what I'm talking about. Don't try to act brand new. If you are thick, if you have thick thighs and you're walking outside on the beach, you already know that your thighs are going to rub together. It's going to get hella sweaty. You're going to have a big ass wet patch in between your legs. I don't have those problems anymore. My thighs don't even touch at all. So no, I don't have a wet mark between my legs and a wet mark on my butt from my cheeks rubbing together so much. You know, it's like you're over here, your butt is so big, you could start a fire with your butt cheeks just from walking. Oh my God, I'm such a troll. But it's like, I used to have wet spots because I would just get sweaty. I would get a lot more sweaty. High sodium foods, that increases your blood pressure. It causes your body to retain water. So a lot of times your body will have excess sweat because your body is trying to regulate itself. So that's one of the biggest differences I've noticed since becoming super skinny and super thin. Like now I'm between a size 2 to 4. So last time I made a video, I think I was probably like a solid 4. Now I'm in between a 2 and 4. So, and I know that's very skinny. I'm 5'9". So I'm not saying everybody has to be my size. But that's something I don't have to deal with anymore. I don't have a big ass wet mark. I don't have a butt mark on the back of my pants or a whole bunch of sweat in between my boobs. If you have an hourglass shape, you know what I'm talking about. For us girls who have the hourglass shape, That's my shape. So I know all about that. The boob sweat, the butt sweat, the thigh sweat. Yeah, because those are the areas where you carry the fat, your boobs and butt. And then I remember I literally stopped wearing bright colors at one point because whenever I would wear a light blue shirt, that's one of my favorite colors. It's like in my top 5 favorite colors, like baby blue. Whenever I would wear a baby blue shirt, I would have a big ass sweat stain on my armpits, sweat stain on the boob part, sweat stain on the back of my blue dress. So I literally stopped wearing some of my favorite colors because I was so embarrassed of the sweat marks that would be on there. So it's like, no, I'm not going to restrict my wardrobe. So you're telling me I have to change my whole wardrobe. I can't even wear certain colors now, all because I want to eat a greasy burger? All because I want to eat pizza? So not only am I spending money, I am funding the lifestyle of the people who own Domino's. I'm giving my paycheck to Domino's. I'm giving my paycheck to McDonald's. And then on top of that, now I can't even wear certain outfits and certain colors because, my armpit stains are going to show. Oh, I'm going to have a big ass sweat mark between my legs now. I'm going to have booty sweat coming off my leggings. No, it's not worth it just for a slice of pizza. It's not worth it just to have some milkshakes. And I'm not even saying that I never have milkshakes. I'm trying to remember when the last time was I had a milkshake. It probably was about 6 months ago, but I do still eat like sugary foods and all that. And that's because I live a skinny girl lifestyle. I have a skinny mindset. So some people, they do this thing where they try to call out skinny people. They'll be like, oh, you're eating a burger. That's not healthy. Well, that's not keto. Well, that's not vegan. They try to call you out as if you're going to be embarrassed. And it's like, no, I live a skinny girl lifestyle every single day. So even if I ate a big burger today, I know that tomorrow I'm going to wake up and I'm going to have high protein. I know that I'm going to have hella vegetables. So I don't walk around with the same guilt. When I was chunky, I used to have more guilt around food. I would feel bad about myself. I would like beat myself up sometimes, but I don't do that anymore because I trust myself now. I know that on a daily basis, I'm eating vegetables every single day. Every single day. I cannot remember not one day in the past 6 months where I have not had vegetables. I can't remember that. So if you're the type of person who cannot remember the last time you had vegetables, you can't remember the last time you had some fruit, you are overweight. I guarantee you're probably overweight. If you haven't had any vegetables in the last 72 hours, you're probably struggling with your weight. I'm just being honest. You probably are. You're struggling with your weight. Because I've never heard of anybody who's quote unquote naturally skinny who does not eat vegetables. And I'm not just talking about fruit. Fruit is good, is healthy, but I feel like sometimes people use fruit as like a cop-out. No, you want to get those vegetables in. You're probably not just only going to eat fruit 24/7. You probably want hot food sometimes. So you want to learn how to grill those vegetables. Oh my God. By the way, speaking of grilled vegetables, if you have an air fryer, the air fryer has literally changed my life. I know that sounds so dramatic, but I love the air fryer because I can put my vegetables in there. I don't eat nearly as much grease as I used to because I was one of those people that was addicted to grease. I'm going to be honest. I love the oily, greasy taste. I do. So you know what I did? I just went and got some 0-calorie spray. I learned that from some other skinny girls. I bought the 0-calorie spray and I just use that anytime I want a little bit of a greasy taste. And then I just put everything in the air fryer. Anything that you can make on the stove or in the oven, you can make it in the air fryer. So no, you don't have to be addicted to all these butters and stuff. The average oil or butter is going to be what, 150 calories? Just for you to saute it in some butter? No, I'm not doing that. So I'm going to use my air fryer. One of my hobbies used to be figuring out how to make a healthier version of my favorite stuff. So you guys know that I love like soul food, which is African American food. I love Mexican food. So when I first started out, I learned how to make that stuff in a healthier way. I learned kind of a healthier alternative. So like with black-eyed peas, for example, instead of cooking it in pork fat, I learned how to make it in a way that fits my health goals. So women who have this beluga mindset, they're just not good at meeting their own goals. They're not good at meeting their body goals. And so, yeah, if you can't even meet your body goals, I don't trust you to tell me how to meet other goals. I'm just being 100% honest. I'm being honest. Society will also stereotype bigger people as having their priorities out of whack. So you're telling me you're prioritizing working for other people. You're prioritizing your dusty boyfriend. You're prioritizing your ungrateful ass kids. But then you don't even care about the body that you have. You're not even going to be here in 10 years if you keep going down the same path. So it's like, I don't understand why people would not want to prioritize their health. Like, health is literally the life that you have. That's the only life I have. This is the only body I have. And another thing when it came to my body was I got tired of being embarrassed of certain parts of my body. Like, oh, I got to cover the cleavage, got to cover the booty. Oh, I can't wear that mini skirt. My butt. I remember my butt used to hang out of the bottom of my mini skirts. It would literally be hanging out. And I'm like, oh my God, this is embarrassing. And, I'm going to be honest. I've never been obese or anything like that. The biggest I've ever been is like a size 10. I'm 5'9", so size 10 would be like Meg the Stallion's body type. But still, I didn't like that my booty was hanging out of my skirts. I didn't like feeling like other women were meeting my body goals. Have you ever felt like that? And by the way, anybody who says they've never felt jealousy before, those are actually the most jealous people, because a lot of women get extremely jealous over other women's bodies. And we know this here in the Pretty Girl Club. A lot of women get triggered by that. So I don't want to be the one who's wishing I had somebody else's body. No, I want to look in the mirror and be happy with the body I already have. Another skinny tip, though, is I try to make walking one of my hobbies, or getting my steps in. I've talked about getting 10K steps. Depending on how ambitious I'm feeling, I might even take it up to 20K steps, depending on what city you live in too. Like, if I want to go to a coffee shop, I can walk there. If it's within 5 miles, I can walk. But that's just for me, though. I know some people, they're not strong enough to walk that far, but you can just kind of work your way up, just build your way up. By the way, walking on cement, it's going to be more difficult than walking on a track. So if you're always walking on just the track, you want to change up the material of what you're walking on, because it helps to kind of like strengthen your joints. It helps the different muscles in your feet, so you'll get stronger. And have you ever walked on a track, but then you notice when you're walking on a street, you're more tired? Yeah, it's because of the material you're walking on and the amount of pressure it's putting on your joints. So you want to start gradually conditioning your body so that you can be able to walk on the sidewalk, which is cement. And I know the struggle. Some people are not strong enough to walk a mile on a sidewalk. I've been there before. I know what it's like to be out of shape on that level, to where you can't even run 2 miles on the sidewalk because the actual material, it's a little too much work for all your different muscles and stuff. So that's another tip. I love to walk on different surfaces. So sometimes I'll go walking or jogging on the sidewalk or on the street. Other times I will go on the track. Sometimes I will go on the hills. I will go on the stairs. Some of you guys are good at walking on a flat surface, but you're not good at walking up hills. Well, that's going to help you a little bit. It'll help you to get stronger. It helps you to burn a little bit of extra calories. But remember, you never want to rely on working out as your main strategy to be skinny, because it's not going to work. I told you guys that I've done half marathons before. I've done so many long distance runs, and that was when I was maybe 35 to 40 pounds heavier. So I was still kind of slim, or slim thick, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, I wasn't losing weight. Why? Well, it's because of my diet. You cannot outrun a bad diet. I told you guys the average amount of calories you're going to lose on the high end is going to be 100 calories per hour? That milkshake that you drank was 1,500 calories. So are you going to go running for 15 hours? No, you're probably not. Going on a run for 15 hours, that's 3 full marathons. Yeah, I said it. If you were trying to burn off the calories of just one milkshake, if you burn 100 calories per hour, that's 15 hours of running. That's why they say you can't outrun a bad diet. And this is also why you see a lot of big people who have the hardest workouts. They're working out 7 days a week. They're working out 2 to 4 hours a day, but they're still big. Why? because they only burned 400 calories after working out for 4 hours. But then the milkshake they had was 1,500. So that's why it's just a better strategy to rely on being in a calorie deficit as opposed to only relying on your workouts. So your workout should be a supplement just to kind of help you build muscle, to help you build strength, and to kind of clear your mind. Working out outside, going on a walk, it helps to trigger the endorphins in your body, especially if you're doing it in nature. Because remember, a lot of your eating is emotional eating. So you want to get that emotional balance back in check. And I saw a comment of somebody saying that people were making fun of her for eating small portions. If people make fun of me for eating a small portion, that person's cut off. I'm not eating in front of them anymore. I'm not hanging out with them anymore. And that person who's making fun of your small portion sizes is probably insecure with their own body because, for them, they can't eat a small portion size like that. They have to eat triple or quadruple what you're eating. And a lot of people eat a bunch of food. It's just a performance. They're being performative. They're only eating 5 times the serving amount so they can look quote unquote normal in front of their friends. They're scared of being perceived as having an ED. So that's why they're eating these big portion sizes, and that's why they're making fun of your small portions. Small portions equals a small woman. Big portions equals a big woman. If you eat a bunch of pigs, you're going to look like a pig. So if you're eating bacon, pork 24/7, you're going to probably look like a pig. If you eat a bunch of cow meat 24/7, you're going to eventually look like a cow. If you're eating like a 200-pound person, you're going to weigh what a 200-pound person weighs. Whatever you weigh right now, it's because you eat the amount of calories to sustain that weight. So if you're 120 pounds, okay, you eat the diet of a 120-pound person. If you're 190 pounds, you eat the diet of a 190-pound person. You eat 190-pound serving sizes. And when it comes to my calories and stuff like that, I don't have to explain shit. I don't have to explain to you why I only eat a certain amount of carbs or, why my sugar intake is low. No, you're not my doctor. You're not my counselor. You're not my therapist. Who are you? I don't have to explain why I want to be beautiful, why I want my body to be thin. That's nobody else's business. Another thing too is that I don't take skinny advice from people who are not skinny. And this is a part of why I say that, I'm not an advice channel, because I'm an anonymous content creator. So there's no way you can truly prove who I am or whatever. And that's fine. But yeah, when it comes to my real life, I'm not taking body advice from somebody whose body is shaped like a pizza box. No, you eat pizza every day, you're going to be shaped like a pizza box. You eat everything out of the refrigerator, you're going to be shaped like the refrigerator. You eat like a linebacker, you're going to be shaped like a linebacker. I said what I said. If you eat like a supermodel, you're going to be shaped like a supermodel. If you eat like a Barbie doll, if you eat like a petite, dainty, feminine girl, then you're going to be shaped like that. If you eat like a princess, you're going to be shaped like a princess. As a matter of fact, even if you want to use the princess argument, when you watch Disney movies, do you see the average princess eating in every scene in the movie? So throughout the whole movie, she's just constantly eating, constantly snacking. No, she's not. Because she has to manage her kingdom. She has to manage her privileged lifestyle that comes with being a princess. So if you want to make it fun, you can think of it that way. I'm going to eat like a princess so I look like a princess. I'm going to eat like a supermodel. Actually, I learned the tip about the grapes from a Victoria's Secret model. I can't remember who it was, but I saw it somewhere online. She was talking about how she eats frozen grapes as her late night snack instead of eating like a popsicle or something. And that, oh my God, that changed my life. Just getting some grapes. I love the black grapes, like the really dark ones. And I just keep those in my freezer. So whenever I want a frozen snack, I can just pull out a grape. Or I can pull out a small handful of grapes. And that's kind of like a frozen treat for me. Being skinny is a culture, just like how being fat is a culture. And I know that in America, being fat or thick or chunky, that's a part of American culture. Okay, well, bitch, just because everybody else is doing it doesn't mean I have to do it. So you get to choose what culture you want to participate in. I'd rather participate in thin culture versus fat culture. I saw somebody ask the question about how to stay on track with your food when the weather changes, because some of you guys get triggered, like if it's super sunny outside, maybe you want ice cream. if it's super cold outside, you want to have carbs. I know that's the case for me, actually. So I have a list of healthy alternatives that I will specifically go to depending on the weather. So if it's super cold outside, instead of reaching for some pasta or mac and cheese, which is what I used to do, I will reach for like some soup. So I already have this entire list in my mind, like, okay, if I'm feeling triggered by the weather, what's a healthier alternative that I can eat that day to feel cozy or to feel, whatever emotion I'm trying to feel, because that technically is a form of emotional eating. The weather can affect some people's emotions. Some people feel super hyper when it's like sunny outside. So if it's sunny and I want to go get some ice cream, I'm going to walk to the ice cream shop and I'm going to get the smallest serving size they have. I'm going to get the snack size or the children's size. I'm not going to go there and get a big ass size. Remember, big portions are for big women. And if you eat big portions, you're going to become a big woman. So what do you want to eat like? What do you want to look like? A small woman or a big woman? If you want to be small or look smaller, then eat smaller. So if I'm triggered because it's sunny outside and I really want a cool treat, something to cool me down, I really will get iced coffee now, or maybe iced tea with no sugar, because tea is a natural appetite suppressant. And I'm talking about tea with no sugar. Like green tea, that is an appetite suppressant, black tea, matcha. So I will get something like that to cool me down. And when it comes to the weather doesn't control my weight loss. The fuck? That's called an external locus of control. Oh, why are you fat? Because it's wintertime. Do you hear how idiotic that sounds? So because it's snowing outside, now I'm fat. So because it's Christmas, now I'm fat. So I'm just going to self-sabotage myself because it's raining outside. No. I learned how to have an internal locus of control. The weather doesn't control me. Other people's opinions don't control me. The restaurant and how good their food tastes, and that doesn't control me. No, I'm not a slave to my senses. I'm not a slave to processed food. And for those of you who have an African American background like myself, I'm not going to allow a slave mindset to come back in and create a generational curse in my life. So you're telling me that not only were my ancestors slaves, but now 400 years later, I'm a slave to some white powder, sodium, sugar, and white flour? No, that's an insult to the people who gave their lives so I could have rights. That's an insult to the people who literally were unalived in hopes that I would live a better life than them. So why would I disrespect myself, disrespect my community, disrespect where I came from by abusing my own body with a whole bunch of white powder and still maintaining a slave mindset? Absolutely not. You better get somebody else to do that shit. And for those of you who are like, oh, well, my friends, they asked me to go out to eat with them. Okay, well, I can go to the restaurant, but it doesn't mean I have to eat at the restaurant. I can go there and get some tea. I can go there and get a black coffee, no cream or sugar, because that's 0 calories. I can go there and have something small, something light, maybe like some celery or something like that. Like if they have a fruit cup, I can have that. Why is it that I have to copy everything everybody else is doing? Oh, she's eating pasta at the restaurant, so let me copy her. No. And also, that's a sign that you have the wrong friends too. Like no offense, but I don't really want to hang out with women who could care less about their bodies. If they don't even care about their own health, they don't even care about getting diabetes or not, or, potentially having clogged arteries or not. They don't even care about their own bodily functions and their bodily organs that are keeping them alive. So why on earth would they really care about me as a friend? How can they show love to me if they don't even love themselves? They don't even love their life. And so that's why they don't care about the quality of it. So absolutely not. They can be my acquaintance, but yeah, I don't want to hang out with women who are complacent in kind of like this low-level lifestyle. They're complacent about the fact that their body is deteriorating. I don't want to be around those types of people. I prefer to have friends who are leveling up and friends who don't judge me for going to the restaurant and not eating. Some people want you to apologize for meeting your body goals. No, I'm not going to apologize for being beautiful. I'm not going to apologize for having a flat stomach. I'm not going to apologize for meeting my goals. And I'm also not going to allow friendships to stop me from that. I'm not going to allow people to bring me down. And if they are like a big person, like, those people who are just, they go to restaurants every single day, I will tell them, like, no, I have some body goals right now, or hey, I'm busy that day, so I can't do it. So I have to set boundaries. When it comes to eating out, I don't eat out every single day. I set boundaries around eating out. I just moved a date that I have. I just moved it to next week because the night before I ate out, a little bit more than I was supposed to. So that week, I think I would have ended up eating out 4 or 5 times that week. So I was like, no, I can't do this. I have to move this date to next week so I can kind of cleanse and detox my body a little bit before I go back out to a restaurant. So you have to learn how to like control your schedule. A lot of the skinny mindset, it's not just about being skinny. It's really about learning how to control your time, learning how to be disciplined, learning how to say no. It's about detoxing yourself, not just detoxing your body, but also detoxing your mindset. Because a lot of people, they have kind of like this people-pleasing mindset. They care about what others think of them. They're too scared to move their lunch date to a different time or whatever. So they don't have any boundaries. And I talked about that. You have to have boundaries if you want to be skinny. You have to protect your body. You have to protect your thin privilege. You have to protect this time that you spent losing all this weight. Why would I spend 6 months losing weight just so I can fuck it up within 1 month? I'm not doing that shit. No. When you're skinny, you also have to learn how to forgive yourself too, because you're never going to be perfect. You're never going to have a perfect diet that's just perfectly healthy 24/7. Some days I do overeat. Some days I get too much sodium or I have too much fried foods, but I don't allow that to steer me off track. I don't beat myself up. I will comfort myself. I will tell myself, hey, it's okay. Don't worry about it today. You're going to just detox your body tomorrow. Maybe you won't be as hungry tomorrow. That's another thing too. Whenever I overeat, I'm less hungry the next day, by the way. So if you overeat 3, 4, 5 days in a row, you weren't hungry all those times. That's a lie. So a part of being skinny is to stop lying to yourself, because especially if you overate and you haven't gone to the bathroom yet, that food is still in your body. So don't try to lie to yourself and say, oh, well, I'm hungry right now because it's breakfast time. No, you overate last night 3,000 calories. Your body is not hungry. Your stomach is probably not growling. Remember, hunger comes with symptoms. If you do not have the symptoms of hunger, you are not hungry. You're not. Another talking point I've heard from some people is like, oh, when I go to a restaurant, I have to eat everything on my plate because I paid for it and I don't want to waste my money. So I have to take it home. I have to eat everything there. I have to stuff myself. No, that's not what you paid for. You paid for the service. You paid for spending time with your friends. You paid for the ambiance of the restaurant. You paid to taste the food. You paid to take in the atmosphere and to listen to the music that they have playing in there, to sit in the little booth or to sit at the little table. So you paying to go to a restaurant, it wasn't just about the food. It was about the atmosphere of the building you were in, really. You paid for the atmosphere. So no, I don't feel like I wasted money if I don't bring the food home because I got what I paid for. I got to taste some good food. I got to hang out with some friends in a cool setting. And I got to experience the restaurant. You're still experiencing it even if you don't eat everything on the plate. I still had the experience of being there. So a lot of people are eating because they have FOMO, fear of missing out. And it's like, I'm not missing out on anything by eating an additional 1,000 calories. I didn't miss anything. I'm not missing out on this restaurant experience because, oh, I didn't order anything. I only ordered a drink. I didn't order a meal. I'm not missing out. I'm still at the restaurant. I belong. I still belong there. Some people, they eat food because they feel like they don't belong if they're not eating. So you have to get rid of that insecurity. That's an insecurity. Oh, I'm fighting for belonging. I'm fighting to feel like I fit in. I'm missing out if I don't have the food. No, you want to feel like you're in the know. You want to feel like you're acceptable. You want to feel accepted by the other people at the table. I'm already accepted. Like when I went to a birthday party recently, I went to this really good restaurant and I stayed within my calorie deficit. I didn't say to myself, oh, well, they're not going to accept me or they're going to look at me funny. No, I belong there because I got invited to the birthday party in the first place. Who I am is what makes it fun. I'm the life of the party, not the food. I, as a human being, my spirit, who I am on the inside, that's what makes it fun. It's not the fact that, they had ice cream there. No, I don't allow food to be the star of my life. I'm the star of my life. So I do not feel guilty if I only had a few bites and, maybe I just wasn't hungry anymore. Or maybe my stomach started getting upset. My stomach started rumbling or something. And by the way, I usually stop eating at the first sign of gas, at the first sign of stomach rumbling, because that's your body sending signals of fullness. Like, hey, you can stop now. You had enough. You had enough fries. So if I'm eating and I feel myself like my stomach's rumbling, I start getting gas, or like my body wants to burp or something like that, that means I should stop eating. That's a signal that, hey, you can stop. We're full. We are past full in a lot of cases. So no, I don't feel bad when I stop eating because I still belong. I am still valid. My presence there is valid. I don't have to eat food in order to prove that I belong in the restaurant. I don't have to eat a bunch of food in order to prove that I'm chill and, I'm relaxed, or in order to prove that I'm one of those skinny girls who can eat anything. Because this is something I see more so from skinny girls. A lot of skinny girls will go to social events and overeat because, they've been strict all week, and then they're trying to prove to their friends and family, hey, see, look, I'm eating ice cream too. Look, I'm eating pizza as well. So it's really like they're eating based out of fear. They fear other people judging them, or they're trying to solidify their identity. Like, yeah, I'm one of the chill skinny girls that can eat anything. And this is why you see a lot of skinny content creators posting themselves eating McDonald's and donuts and crumble cookies and stuff. It's because they're trying to prove to their audience in a lot of cases, like, oh, see, look, I eat just like you. When in reality, you know damn well, I'm skinny myself. I know damn well if you're my height and my size, if you're 5'9" and you're borderline size 2, you do not eat McDonald's every single day. No, you eat one bite. Maybe you have one bite of McDonald's every day. Maybe you have one hash brown from McDonald's every day, but you're not eating that every single day. So sometimes skinny girls will end up kind of deceiving people, whether it's intentional or not. They'll end up kind of tricking others into thinking like, oh, well, she's skinny and she just eats whatever she wants 24/7. Yeah, she eats whatever she wants, but she doesn't eat it in the same portion sizes as you. Remember, big portion sizes, big woman. Small portion sizes, small woman. So you guys might both be eating cake, but she ate a smaller portion size than you. Or if she ate a big portion size, when she goes home, she's eating like fruits and vegetables, and she goes back to her actual diet, which is usually high protein. Generally speaking, the women that get the highest protein that I know, they're always skinny women. Like if you ask an obese woman, hey, how much protein did you have this week? She'll have no idea. If you ask her, how much protein did you have today? How much fiber did you have? Did you have a lot of carbs today? No, the average overweight woman has no idea because she's extremely uneducated about her own diet. She doesn't study. She doesn't know any like nutritional knowledge. Most skinny girls that I've come across, they have way more like nutritional knowledge than women who are struggling with their weight. Because if you had the knowledge, you wouldn't be struggling with your weight to begin with. And that's the case for all of us, right? Like even in my own case, I wasn't tracking protein. I hardly ever had any protein. I would be eating hella food and no protein. And by the way, the purpose of food is to fuel your body. And then, in some cases, maybe you want to go out because you want something to taste good. Okay, so then just eat a taste of it then. A taste is not 5,000 calories. That's not the definition of the word taste. If you look up the definition of that word, taste, it means that you're experiencing the flavor of something. Okay, so I don't have to eat the entire bowl in order to experience the flavor. No, you really can experience the flavor by smelling something, by, taking a small bite. Taste does not mean gorging and binging. That's not the same thing. And it's not the same word. That's why they have two different definitions. So tasting something just means I'm experiencing it. Okay, so I experienced it with one bite. That's why when you ask for a sample, they give you a small spoonful so you can experience the flavor, aka taste, that food. So if you're one of those people who's eating based on your taste buds, okay, then actually taste it. Because if you're saying, oh, I just want the taste, you're lying to yourself, because no, you're binging on it. So you actually wanted to binge, and that's why you ate the whole thing. That's why you didn't just taste it. You can taste a whole bunch of stuff and still stay within your calorie deficit, or you're still hitting your macros, or whatever tracking method you have for yourself. Tasting food just means you are experiencing the flavor. Don't forget that. And by the way, if you look up the definition of the word eat, eating is the action of taking food into your mouth and swallowing it, and it is a basic human activity for nourishment. So that's literally the definition of eating. So if you're not doing this activity for nourishment, that means you're eating based on taste, or you just want to taste it and you're doing it wrong. You're not tasting it because you're having the whole plate. So that's actually binging. So a part of being skinny is being honest with yourself. So ask yourself, am I eating the food? Am I eating for nourishment? Am I just trying to taste the food? Do I want the sensory? Do I just want the sensation of having this in my mouth? Because if so, I can just eat one bite and I should be fine. I can eat 3 bites and be fine. Because think about it, is the 12th or 15th bite, is that as exciting as the first bite? No, it's not. So if your goal was just to taste it, then just actually stand 10 toes down and just taste it. A lot of people who struggle with their weight, they struggle with standing 10 toes down. They don't know how to stand 10 toes down on their goals. They don't know how to stand 10 toes down on their diet. So that's the real issue. It's not knowing how to stand 10 toes down on what you said you were going to do. If you said you're just going to taste something, then just taste it. Don't eat the entire thing or binge on the entire thing when you've already established within yourself, I just want to get a taste of ice cream. Getting a taste of something is like getting a sample. It's not eating the gallon. It's not eating a pint. And that's why when you ask to taste something, they don't give you the whole gallon. They don't go into the freezer and take out the entire thing of ice cream and say, okay, here you go, because you wanted to taste it. No, that's not the definition of the word taste. Tasting something means you're getting the flavor by taking a little into the mouth. So literally in the dictionary, it says that tasting, it means you're just taking a little bit into your mouth. So if you try to lie to me and say, oh, well, I just tasted the chicken wings, you did not taste them if you didn't eat just a little. And then the second definition, to eat or drink, especially in small quantities. So this is why people say, oh, you can taste everything and eat nothing. It's because that person understands the actual dictionary definition of the word taste. It means that you're having it in a small quantity. So if you're a person who likes to eat based on your taste buds sometimes, or that's important to you, then actually follow the definition of that word, which means to eat in small quantities. And for the people who say that skinny people have EDs, no, I believe that overweight people are more likely to have an ED, because if you look up the definition of the word binging, it says that it's eating more quickly than usual during your episodes. You're eating until you feel uncomfortably full. You're eating large amounts of food even when you're not hungry. Or you're eating by yourself because you're embarrassed, feeling disgusted, depressed, or guilty after overeating. Most Americans do this when they go to a restaurant. Most Americans do this during Thanksgiving. They feel depressed after overeating. They're eating large amounts of food until they're uncomfortably full. So that's not just tasting, or I'm just eating the Thanksgiving food for the taste. No, that's actually binging. So a part of leveling up is actually understanding the definitions of words. So you want to be honest with yourself. Am I tasting the food? Am I eating? And the definition of eating is you're swallowing food so it can nourish your body. So if there's no nourishment, what are you doing? You're probably binging, not just eating, and definitely not just tasting. Are you addicted to the white stuff? What do you ladies think? Let me know in the comment section, and I'll talk to you next time. Stay pretty, ladies.